Hello everyone. I know y'all been wondering where I've been. Sorry, I've been working. I've been really busy. I've been trying to pick up as much extra work as I can. My friend Kim gets here within this week, and I want to be prepared and able to take at least a little bit of time off to get her settled in. So I have been taking on a lot of extra work. I keep kids. This past weekend, the little girl I keep, it was her birthday, and they talked me into letting her have her birthday slumber party here. Grandma kept the baby. I keep a little girl and then an infant little boy. Grandma kept the baby, and so I had 7 girls for literally 2.5 days, almost 3 days, and I got no sleep, none whatsoever. But I really enjoyed them being here. And quite a unique experience. I love children. I wanted a house full. That's really what I wanted. I just wanted to be a mother. I didn't have great ambitions in this world. I have a very innate instinct to care for things, especially the children. And that's just where my heart is. I'm going to follow my heart, and it's with the children. And this video is going to begin with the children, and it's going to end with the children. But there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in the middle, because I learned something this weekend. I learned how impressionable our young minds are. I watched them. I studied their patterns, their speech, how they interacted with each other, the group think, the pack mentality, how they would come together and try to, if one got mad at somebody for something, the group would split. You'd have to work out these situations. But the main thing, it occurred to me, they're all just reacting to influence. When we come here, we're literally blank canvases. We have our environmental issues and our DNA issues, but it's the mind. It's what's going on in the mind. I'm also aware that this place is ruled by symbols. The logo. The logo is the symbol. There's power in the logo. And I'm quite aware that the subconscious mind deals in symbolism. Period. It doesn't speak language. The conscious mind is aware of language. The subconscious mind is not aware of language. It's aware of symbols. And it is the imagination that can do both. The imagination can do language and symbol. It's unique. But we need to train our conscious mind with the correct symbols. The symbols are being perverted and inverted. I can't stress that enough, and how that influences your subconscious mind. It comes in with its own set of symbols. It's already embedded in you. It's like the inborn act of laughing or sneezing or crying. These are things, breathing. We don't need to be taught how to blink. Well, your subconscious mind comes with a pre-programmed set of symbols that you recognize and respond to. And we have been trained to fear some symbols, and we have been trained to embrace others. We've been trained to embrace the corrupted symbols. Now, for any of this to make sense to you, what I'm fixing to tell you, I'm just going to try to break it down and explain it in the simplest terms I can. When we talk about astrology, hold on a second, let me go somewhere. Alright. In astrology and in astronomy, what we are watching in the heavens is, I've told you, there's 2 different stories, and they're played backwards and forwards. This is like a record to me, or a movie film, a movie strip that is projected down here. And you got to know the script. This is the script. But it's also like a record. And but you know, on our record players, we only have one needle. You set the needle down on the record and it plays one song. But here, we have more than one needle. We have many needles: the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. And each house of the zodiac is a different song or a different melody. Now, the sun, in our daily lives, the sun plays a song this way, right? It goes this way. We go from Pisces in the spring to Aries to Taurus, Gemini in the summer. We're just working our way around. But in the big picture, the big wheel, the sun is actually going retrograde backwards. We're in Pisces headed to Aquarius. So it's playing the song in two different directions. It's backwards and it's forwards. The moon is the only thing that doesn't retrograde in the sky for us. We know the planets retrograde. The sun retrogrades also. The moon is the only one that doesn't have what I call a backwards song. It only goes forward. It is the only one that goes in one direction. Everything else has its dualistic nature. I guess in a way, because of the way our calendar is set up, the moon is on like the 28-point day cycle, and our solar calendar is not equivalent. So in a way, it's like, it's a waltz. You take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's retrograde. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because this same theme is playing out down here. I'm starting to see what's going on. Let me go back to here. This is Sivjo's channel. Let me see if I can get... I have been examining reverse speech. Language is my thing. This is Sivjo 3000. This is his channel. And I watch a lot of his videos, and also a couple other reverse speech channels that really set the stage for reverse speech. It's quite incredible. This is William Shakespeare. Thine forward voice now is to speak well of thine friends. Thine backward voice is to utter foul speeches and to detract. I'm going to read that again. This is from The Tempest. Insult 3, The Tempest. Thine forward voice now is to speak well of thine friends. Thy backwards voice is to utter foul speeches and detract. I can't tell you what a magical language English is. So we have a forward voice and a reverse voice. The reverse voice speaks evil, or what we would say is truth. If you're telling your friend in the forward voice how you're speaking well of him, but you detract with your... It's dualistic in nature. The forward voice is the conscious mind. The reverse voice is the subconscious mind. And that's how I see this. I believe we are being presented with the reverse. Why? Because of all the symbolism. And because it's a time of changing of ages, the reverse pattern has us going from Pisces into Aquarius. But on a daily, we move from Aquarius into Pisces. And they're playing out at the same time. Symbolism of the subconscious mind. Let me go there. All of this is, a picture paints 1,000 words. One symbol is 1,000 words. I really respect and get hieroglyphics more every day. It's far more accurate than words. Do you know what you're looking at here? Do you know what you're looking at here? Anybody? Got a crab. That's the crab, not the scorpion, by the way. Which cross are you looking at? Got 2 feminine, 2 masculine, 2 boobies, 2 don't. It's all symbolism. And that's what alchemy is. It's a language of symbols. It's the oral tradition. It can't be written. It can own. People tell me, give me books, give me this. This is a journey you have to take on your own. This is an oral tradition. And when it clicks for you, then you have your conscious mind and your subconscious mind are now in groove. They're playing the same way. They're running on the same symbols. All of this, all of these pictures right here are made up. All of this is made up of these symbols. All of it. And these symbols all come from a smaller set of symbols. A basic set. You need to, and all of these are added together to make everything else. I understand the Pythagorean philosophy. I get it. But it's only one perspective. I understand that all of us are looking at the exact same thing from a different perspective. This is the true symbology. They're inverting it and perverting it. You need to train your conscious mind the correct symbol, so your subconscious mind doesn't react negatively. This is the evil eye. It's the left eye. This would represent Oculus Boreas. It's in the constellation of Taurus. It's the left eye in the bull. It's black. That's why you see the black left eye ritual. It's the Oculus Boreas. It's the evil eye. Fomalhaut is the stone the builders rejected, which is the third eye full of light. So when you see the celebrities or the famous people, they're the giants. That's the same terminology as used in the Bible. There were giants in the earth in those days and after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men. Men of renown. That means famous. Renown means famous. They were giants. They're superstars. That's what they are. And they showed us what makes a giant in the movie Giant with Clark Gable. So all of these symbols need to be learned in their proper aspect. So you have an earth sign going down, a fire sign. This is the crossing of the ages this is the Exodus. And the all-seeing eye, not the all-seeing eye, it's their all-seeing eye, it's the evil eye. They both see all. And everything is dualistic. Everything is dualistic. I like the way they did this symbol, because this is watered down. It doesn't have the block under the bottom. That other line, that line is missing. That makes this one water. That is, air and earth over air here. Interesting symbology here to read these magic circles, right? We're talking magic circles. You got the feathered serpent up here. All the symbolism. When you look at all these pictures, this is the zodiac. This is the zodiac. This is duality. The tree of knowledge of good and evil is the tree of duality. Just as the tree of life is the tree of death. They are one and the same. Rex Mundi, king of the world. And it's all in here. Here's your correct symbols. This is as basic as it gets. You need to learn them, know them, recognize them when you see them, and they come in different forms, right? Remember the difference between the fire languages that are very curvy and feminine, and then the masculine Greek block letter languages. And when you look at the way they do the symbols, you can actually tell which culture it comes from by the way they do it. Everything Western and Greek, Aquarius, is going to be that zigzag symbol. But when you see it from the Orient, this is not how they write the symbol. It's feminine. It is literally like a wave form. Same thing. To get the gold, to get the sun from the moon, it's done by, know what that is? It's the earth down, and then the sulfur, the flux. Go look at all the symbolism. All right, I want to go back to here, because we're going to go back to the children. Now, I love Civ Joe's videos. I highly recommend this channel. I will leave a link below. I have even I've downloaded a couple of the reverse speech programs and have tried them out myself. I suggest a lot of you do it. I understand language. I understand how it reads back and forth. Alchemy teaches you this. And Shakespeare obviously knew exactly what he was talking about. Now, my favorite thing about Civ Joe is the way he begins and the way he ends his videos. He always begins with this, and he always gives credit where credit is due. But he ends his videos with a little clip. I forget where it comes from. I've heard it before. It used to be I think a radio show. It might have been a TV show, but it's a line, and the guy says, he said this, and it made me think. It made me think. And yeah, that's what we need. It's to make you think. It's to make you think. And that's the God ink. When you talk about the word think, that's the God ink. Now, we're going to go to Matt's website, his new website. I'm going to plug this right quick. Quantum of Conscience. He now has his own website. You can go there. This is his YouTube channel. But I'll put a link for his website as well. He has been talking a lot about, I get the impression that he's implying he feels like he's coming to the end of his journey. What left is there to say? We've been down every rabbit hole. We've circumvented every possible angle. And what left is there? It is the children, the future. That's what's left. We on YouTube have been, as adults, knowing, conscience, aware, and all we're doing is arguing with each other. We're not really accomplishing anything. We're not moving forward. We have no traction. It is distraction. We have no traction. We're not moving forward. We've become stagnant as a YouTube community. And I totally agree with this. There's not crap on YouTube anymore. It's all clickbait. It's all repeat. It is, as Mark Twain said, when someone doesn't have anything intelligent to say, they resort to insult and slander. And that's pretty much what YouTube is. It's insult and slander. And I played that game as a teenager. I'm not into it. Now, where we need to be going is we're targeting our videos at the wrong people. Our videos are only being watched by people who are already awake. And when someone who's not awake stumbles upon it, we're so far advanced in the game, they don't really get where we at. They have no traction, and they're just spinning their wheels, and they move along. We're not catching their interest. They have been trained on clickbait. That we are fish in Pisces, fish school, and they're just waiting on the bait. And they'll bite anything you drop in the water. They'll get on any train that comes in the station without a clue of its destination. This is what needs to change. Our target audience needs to change. I'm seriously considering opening a channel for children. It'll be very clean. It'll be very innocent. But to just properly teach at least the symbolism. At least to get the symbolism correct. Because it is the perverted symbols. This place is run on symbols. Now, when I say that, that is far more than what you can imagine. Remember, symbolism is the subconscious mind. At nighttime, when we look up at the heavens, it's dark. I think of us as in the mind of God. All of this that you're looking at is we're in the mind. And the nighttime is the subconscious mind. And it runs in symbolism. It doesn't run in language. And they're perverting the symbolism. And therefore, it's perverting the nature of these generations. Now, we got to turn the beat around. We got to turn it around. And we have to start back at the beginning. Let me talk about the hero's journey for a second. The hero's journey is old as time. It's old as the zodiac itself. Astrology and the zodiac are the oldest thing that we have. From every culture around the world had one. That is exactly what the Vatican and the British Empire destroyed when they went into every culture. Because it was their language. The zodiac was their language. It's like that. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, that's a zodiac. The Garden of Eden, that's a zodiac. It's a magic circle. And they have changed our symbolism and perverted, and they've given us good for evil and evil for good. And we need to get the correct symbolism going. They do this through media. I sat here with these children and we were watching. I let them pick what they wanted to watch. I don't really watch television. Sometimes I'll turn it on just for the noise effect to keep from Kelly barking at everything that walks by. I'll put on HGTV or the old black and white movies, and I'll just something without commercials. I try to find something without commercials. But I let them watch what they wanted to watch. And I paid attention to it and how they reacted to it and what the symbolism was. And then I saw what was happening. I saw what they're doing and why and how they're affecting generations. Now, in 2020, on the winter solstice, Saturn and Jupiter conjunct. When Saturn and Jupiter conjunct, that's the biggest generational marker ever. When they conjunct, the door to the Black Lodge opens. And we manifest from our subconscious mind, the Black Lodge. That the Black Lodge runs in symbolism. That's why Freemasonry runs in symbolism. What is it? Somebody was talking about the Q thing. He had said their symbolism will be their downfall. And indeed, I agree. Because that's when everything clicked for me. When I realized I see them speaking in like a type of sign language. I learned sign language as a little girl. And I saw this happening in films, in interviews, little nuances that they do, motions. They have body language. You have a body language. You have a reverse speech language. You have a symbolic language. All we're ever taught is speech. And then we're not taught that that speech has a reverse curse. Especially in English. This thing is so scripted and designed, it's incredible. They say the English language is the hardest to learn. I agree. But once you do learn it, it's like all the other languages are going to open up to you. When you learn symbology, all the languages are going to open up to you. The only languages I have yet to conquer are the Oriental languages. They're a different composite, and I haven't got there yet. And I understand that those Oriental languages are origin. They came first. They're the oldest. They go back to way before the flood. We write from left to right. The Etruscans wrote as the ox plow, from left to right, right to left. They back and forth and back and forth. But the Celestials, as we call them forever until recently, they wrote up and down. And I get it. It clicks for me when you tell me you write up and down, because we're just running back and forth. And knowledge shall run to and fro. People shall run to and fro. Knowledge shall be increased. They'll run back and forth. We need to be going up and down. The angels ascend up and down the ladder. They go up and down the angles. So this video is really for everybody, but for Matt. That in the hero's journey, the hero starts out real happy, right? He's got a goal, he goes along, he achieves his goal, he gets this great job, he buys the house, he's sitting pretty, everything's fine. Then boom, and things start going bad, and before you know it, he hits rock bottom. And then he's got to start digging his way out. And halfway up the hill, the epiphany hits him, or the tides turn, and then he makes it all the way back up the hill, only to start over all over again. It's cyclical. It's a repeating cycle. When one thing ends, the new thing begins. And then you can go back and do the same story over, because this curse has a reverse. About the NPCs in the last couple of videos where I've talked about that. And, I have this impression, and it's because of deja vu. I think this is where deja vu comes in, is that this record is playing in two directions. We're getting glimpses of it going forward and backwards at the same time. That's why we have the impression we've been here before. Because it's all up there. The script was written before we were ever even thought of being created. When you talk about Genesis 1, in the beginning denotes time. That's ruled by Saturn. So Saturn, in the beginning, all things are in time. They're in time. There's nothing that's outside of time that we can comprehend. So in the beginning, in time, God, or time, created the heavens and the earth. The sun and the moon were created on the fourth day for signs and for seasons. So this script, this record, this song of life that plays has been playing way before we were ever created. And we know that Genesis 1 is a recreation. They're told to replenish the verse. So this is a remix. Now, I understand how impressionable children are. And that's why it's so important for them to hit them with that symbology when they're young. It affected me. Sesame Street was everything to me. It was my life. Bert and Ernie were my friends. Grover was my favorite. I liked Grover. I related to the Grover character. That's how I thought life should be, the Grover character. Now, what they're doing to our kids now, I know this is a bit confusing, and it's confusing in my head. I can see the big picture. I know that this 2020 conjunction we're going to manifest from the subconscious mind. And that's the monsters of the id, people. And they're creating the monsters with the inverted, perverted symbol. Everything is dualistic. It has a back, a front, a left, a right, a up, a down, a forward, a reverse, a within, a without. And it's all connected to everything else. We need to begin a new way of thinking of how we as a community can target the children with a message that will spark their interest. You know, as people, as children, we all have a defining moment in our life as children. One of my defining moments was definitely Sesame Street. Another defining moment in my life was I had the privilege of opening my third eye very young. Very, very young. I wish everybody could have that experience, but it comes at a heavy price. I want to say something else too that's heavy on my heart. A lot of you want to walk that path. You want to open your third eye. You don't know what you're asking for. If you're married, if you have children, you've contracted into that. You need to really fulfill that contract. You can take the time while that contract is being fulfilled, especially as a mother or a parent. You fulfill that contract first. But while you're filling it, you can prepare yourself. You can learn the material, learn the alchemy. Let it be your hobby. Spend what time you can with it. Let it become your best friend, that thing you do. Let it become a part of you as you incorporate it into your daily lives. But when you walk that path, that's the narrow path. And it only fits one person. And if you're going to go down that road, that's the eye of the needle, friend. And the camel's got to unload everything and get on his knees before he can get through that gate. The eye of the needle is a gate in the wall of Jerusalem. And all the big gates are closed. And the camel can't get through the eye of the needle. Only a man can. So the camel's got all this baggage, he's all humped up, so you got to take everything off the camel, then you got to get the camel down on his knees and scoot him through the eye of the needle. That's what the eye of the needle is, by the way. You got to unload everything, because it's a narrow path, and only one person can go through at a time. You can't be in a relationship. You can't be in a position where other people are dependent on you. You're contracted to that. Now, if you're prepared to sacrifice all that, then go for it. But like I said, I'm warning you. You don't want to walk the road I've walked. As a matter of fact, I don't say I walked Job's mile. I've crawled it on my bloody hands and knees. It was not easy, and I didn't do it for me. I'm doing it for the children. It's what it's always been about. It's been about the future and for the children. And I see how they manipulate us through the subconscious. As the record plays forward and we hear the conscience, then there's a quantum conscience that's playing the other way. And we need to be able to hear both. This is a dualistic reality. And we've only been given the flip side. It's time to flip the script. It's time to be able to hear with new ears and eyes. Sivjo's going to help there. Sivjo's going to help there. I'm really excited about there's other channels. I didn't get started on Sivjo, but they all come from one group. these reverse speech, and it's one guy he gives credit to. It's like reversespeech.com. I want to say the name. The guy's David Coates. I want to say that's his name. I might be mistaken, David Coates, but he is the foremost authority on reverse speech. And I find it very fascinating. Now, I'll agree that sometimes when I'm listening to it, I have a very strong ear for language, for consonants, for vowels, and even syllables. And I hear sometimes slightly different things than they do. I have a different set of ears on me. But nonetheless, it's undeniable. I mean, even Shakespeare admits it. So, and that's funny because thine backward voice is to utter foul speeches. That's the owl. The owl, right? You want to know who the owl is? The owl is like the subconscious mind. It's that symbolism. It sees in the dark. The dark always represents the subconscious mind, the black box. The place they fear to go. Pluto, the subconscious mind, is in Jupiter's house of ideology. I can't stress how important this is. Pluto is here, the subconscious mind in ideology, and they are perverting it, subverting it, because they know in 2020, when Saturn and Jupiter meet, they can manifest the monsters for the next 20 years. This is what we need to be correcting. And I have, at this point, I know that there are not many out there that are going to do their shadow work or that even know to do it. It's going to take some higher authority to intervene here, because we're going to see some shit go down in 2020. And that's just the beginning, right? That's just lighting the candle, the fuse. It's a fuse. And that's just the beginning of it. Because this is just a marker of a halfway point between two eclipses. Eclipses are signs of, endings and beginnings. Something old going away, something brand new coming in. It is really huge. But when these solstice markers and these Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions are the most prevalent thing, and that's how they've remained in power all this time. They had one secret that has kept them in power, and that's they knew about the Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions and what they do. Every time Saturn and Jupiter meet, every 20 years, it happens in a different house, which sets the stage for the next 20 years, what that 20 years is going to be about. And then they start controlling the script. But now we know what the script is going to be about. We can control our own lives, our own destinies. What we need to do is start, again, finding ways to introduce this material in a positive way to children. And, I don't even know how to begin to do that. I don't. I have to find ways. I don't mean to be arrogant in any way, but I have to dumb this down to get it across to people. It is complicated. People want books. I'm sorry. I wish there was a book I could hand you, but it's a puzzle, and it's one you have to put together yourself. It's not a written language. You're not going to find it in a book. You can find pieces of it in different books. Many alchemists through the ages found pieces. I took all their pieces and put together what I could to have what little understanding I do. I still the more I learned, the more I know I don't know. That's what I learned. The more educated I become about this, and the more my understanding increases, the more I realize I don't know as much as I thought I did. That I'm learning more every day. But to me, there's only one really important thing, and that is freeing the captives. That's what I'm referring to it as, because that's how it's referred to in alchemy. It's called freeing the captives. And because that's what we are. We're captivated. I sat and watched the children be captivated by the television and how it controlled them, their moods, the commercials especially. I want that. I want that. I want that. And then the symbolism that went with it. Now I'm going to tell y'all one more time because I got a lot of new subs. I've discussed this before. Hold on. This is Branded 2012. You'll find it on the IMDb. It's a Russian movie. In future Moscow, where corporate brands have created a disillusioned population, one man's effort to unlock the truth behind the conspiracy will lead to an epic battle within hidden forces that control the world. It's all about symbolism. They also show you how they do it, and it's with the ashes of the red heifer that have to do with the evil eye, target symbol. That's the symbol of Target. The Target logo for the corporation. That's the Target symbol. Mercedes is the water element, right? Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. That silver circle is the three atoms of water. All of the symbolism in the corporation are symbols of astrology. There's power in the symbol. The word in the Greek is logos. In the Gospel of John, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and not anything was made without Him. That word is logos. It means symbol. In the beginning was the symbol. All things were made by the symbol. Was anything made without the symbol? And the symbol became flesh and dwelt among us. Let me translate that to you with insight. In dualistic, we have the third eye that fills your body with light, and then the evil eye, oculus meridius, representative of Taurus and the left eye of Libra. And that right eye being the target, which is Aldebaran. Aldebaran is the nail in the right hand of the Messiah. And also for the Pleiades is called the flock. They're the flock. That's what it's all about. The whole thing is to save the flock. Religion itself is set up to fleece the flock. Aquarius comes to set the flock free. They're the captives. He puts the sheep in the sheepfold. They're captives. There's a lot in that word capstone, kid, Capricorn. Cap. Gotta have hats. I don't like hats, by the way. For goodness sake. I can barely wear sunglasses. I can barely wear a ponytail. After about 20 or 30 minutes, I start getting headaches and anything touching my head. Is that weird or what? Nonetheless, we got to find a way to rebrand. Rebrand. It's all about brand. The adversary adverse. He's the advertiser. That is the enemy. The advertisers that write the scripts. They're the writers guild. They're the priests of the corporation. The advertisers are the priests. The commercials are the rituals. I watched the kids join in the ritual of the commercial and how it affected them. And then I also remember Branded. Please, y'all watch this movie. Go to Sid Joe's channel. Come over to Quantum of Conscience. And then also go subscribe to his website. I'll leave a link in the description box below. You know, to all my new subs, y'all need to check the description box. I have an Alchemical Library link there with over 500 books in it. 500 astrology astrology, alchemy, philosophy, ideology, you pretty much name it. And go through it, and there's several different stories going on. When you're reading them, you need to know that script is running backwards and forwards. There is a hidden, occult, hidden, right? We're seeing these scripts run this way, day by day, moon and sun going this way in the sky. That hidden script is in reverse. And that's the story I've been telling y'all. I'm telling you both stories, right? Now the hero's journey is Scorpio, and he goes on his hero, and he reaches Leo, and that's his pinnacle. I mean, that's the sun is his highest. That's on the big cross. But then he gets around Taurus, and all hell breaks loose. And then he's got to fight his way back out, and he gets up to Aquarius, and that's salvation. Finally. And then he becomes the grand master and the philosopher's stone, then it starts all over. You come full circle, and it begins again, and again. There are layers upon layers upon layers. Songs within songs, play in one direction and the other. And they're all full of symbols. And the symbol is the power, the word. It's the story behind the symbol. The story within the symbol is what the symbols really mean. And they're taking the symbols of good, the symbols that are good, and they're dualistic and they're perverting them. They make them symbols of debauchery and disgusting stuff, and they're reprogramming the subconscious mind. And that has to stop, because we're not going to be able to deal with the monsters of the wood that's coming down. I feel a lot of you are on my channel just in training to prepare you for this, for what's going to happen, because it's the worst I've ever seen. In 2020, it's a major break. It really is. In our personal lives and as a collective. Because when Saturn and Jupiter conjunct, it manifests as the collective subconscious. And they've got us all, I call it, they're putting everybody's mind in the gutter. In the gutter. This is a battle for your hearts and minds. That's what all this is about. It's a battle for your heart and for your mind. Never give up. If things seem stagnant, enjoy the stagnation. If the opposite of that is explosion. Enjoy the quiet times. Use those times to learn alchemy, to learn the symbolic. Do your own paper. Pick you a symbol every day, 2 or 3 symbols, and just, when you doodle that symbol. You write the symbol and you wait a minute. You start training your own subconscious mind with correct symbolism. Learn to see the subversion and the perversion for what it is. Know its source. Its source is fear. They do it because they're afraid. You shouldn't be afraid. You can walk in the darkness with them. It's the light that's what's scary. We're blinded by the light. We can see the story in the heavens, only in the dark. Alright, now I'm going to demand your comments and suggestions on how we approach this. My first instinct, coloring book. I remember that them having us do to connect the dots as children, and it was always stars, right? You connect the dots, and it was one of the constellations. Wizard of Oz for Tin Man doesn't have a heart. And when he gets one, it's a clock, which is Saturn time. He's just given more time. Tin, the Tin Man is Jupiter. Tin is represented by Jupiter. Jupiter has no heart. Jupiter rules his age of Planetary. The water makes things rust. Right? He's the rusty Tin Man. Iron. Rust never sleeps. Alright, oxidization. You know, it's oxygen that we breathe to live, but it's also oxygen that makes you feel old. Another thing that's on my mind, this video just might get a little crazy right here. Let me pause this for a second and let's do it. That's better. We're told the event. Let's do the event. The event is to even, oops, there it goes again, doing that, even the cross. They do covert operations to cover the cross. You need to start looking at language in a symbolic way. Many of the symbols in the alphabet come from ancient alchemical symbols and have a meaning, especially T, S, K, W, V. All of these symbols, they have a greater meaning. You even the cross. That's the fixed cross. It's the one in the middle. It's the even one. It's not left or right. The event is the even cross. Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. They're trying to cover the cross. They've put you on the wrong cross. They double cross. When you talk about the crosses, there are three, right? 3 crosses at Golgotha, 3 crosses at heaven. You see this, and then sometimes you see the double cross, which they'll write like this. That's a Chris. That's a cross. And then you have what I call the triple tau. You have the triple tau. That's the 3 crosses. That's the same thing as saying an astrology chart. Same thing. Now, who would look at that and think, oh, that's astrology. That's the 3 crosses. That's fixed mutable cardinal. But can you see it? Saturn, this symbol. I don't know why this is, I don't even care anymore. This is Saturn's symbol. And it's th. Let me write it this way for you. It's th. So we think. It's the ink. To think is the God ink. That's the first step of manifestation, is to think. And then we thank. Right? That's the Ankh. The Ankh also represents the man on the cross. It's the fixed cross. It's the same thing. And all of this will start waking up to you, and then when you're going through these YouTube channels and they start slinging down the propaganda and pointing fingers and insulting and criticizing with no solution, then you'll know at least a little truth and be able to see through it. The Sphinx represents 2 stars, Fomalhaut in Aquarius as the man, and Regulus in Leo as the lion. That fixed cross. The even T. This is the event. And what is this event about? This is the evil eye, the left eye. This would be the right eye, the masculine eye. This would be the third eye. And all of the stars, Bill Donohue's work, I'm not even going to try to do it better than he did it. He mastered it. In the Greek, all of the stars in Aquarius are talking about the parts of the brain that have to do with the third eye. The fornax, the hippocampus, the amen is part of the brain that leads to the pineal gland. No man comes to the Father but by me. Symbolism is so important. I want to do the dream of the red sky, but I need to lay down the symbolism heavy before I start getting into dreams, because they come off as doomsday, and they're not. If you know the true symbolism, it's not doomsday. It's just the opposite of doomsday. You know, a lot of you, I know I've got a lot of new subs. A lot of you are coming from Christian backgrounds, and you're asking me about the rapture. This is what I have to say about the rapture. Mark chapter 13 tells you the story of the wheat and the tares, and how the wheat's planted, and then somebody comes behind them and plants the tares, and you can't tell them apart, so they have to grow up together. And then down at the bottom, like in verse 30, it starts telling you about the harvest time. And in the harvest time, the tares are gathered first, bundled, and thrown into the fire. And then the wheat's harvested. So all of you ready to jump on a rapture train, I don't even know what to say. The tares are gathered first, friend. That's your signal. That's your go signal. Is they're coming for the tares first. The question is, who's the tares and who's the wheat? I can actually look at people and I know the difference. I'm not going to tell you how here. I would be crucified if I did. That I can just literally look at a person and it's as simple. Anybody can see it. The difference between the wheat and the tares. You know, let me take you there right quick. Here's what they look like when they're young. It's hard to tell them apart. You got to wait till they grow up. Then you can see the difference. You see the difference here? Wheat, tares. Can't eat this one. Even the seeds look different. They're both green, they both grow up, they look just alike until they mature, and then you can tell them apart. And you can literally look at people and tell the difference. And you know them by their fruit. You know them by their fruit. Their seeds. You know, before a lot of you come at me here about what I said about Taurus being that one eye, the evil eye, the Oculus Boreas, we're all born in the age of Pisces. We're all born in this age of illusion, delusion. It's a trap. It's deception. This is the world age of what you call Satan. Jupiter was called Satan, not Saturn. I'm just so tired of that. I want to beat my head against the wall. People all over YouTube, and then you come on my channel attacking me about the cult of Saturn, when all you know is a perverted cult of Saturn that's been fed to you by the propagandist. I call them the P3 Lodge. The P1 Lodge was Propaganda 1 for World War I. The P2 Lodge was for World War II. We've been in World War III since the end of World War II. They run in consecutive cycles. We have been dealing with what I call the P3 Lodge. Y'all that are ready to go really deep, how many of you really want to step off into some symbolism? I can do it in the Arabic. Watch this. They're called the Hashem films. Hashem's films. Abdullah Hashem, or Hashem. The Hebrews would say Hashem. That's the name of God, right? Hashem. So, The Hashem films were the beginning of P3 Lodge. This information about the Antichrist, Dajjal, Reptilian, all of this was immediately released after 9/11. I mean, within minutes of 9/11, Abdullah Hashem, the P3 Lodge, he's a CIA op, he hit the stage wide open. And this is the source of all the crap and the perversion of symbolisms that we have right now. And you have to be careful with this. There is some hella truth embedded in these videos, but they're designed in such a way that they evoke the negative chakras, because they're introduced to you in fear. You have to put down the fear and the propaganda and look at the true symbolism. Remember that record spinning both ways at the same time. There are several songs all being played at the same time. It's a great symphony. That's why they call it the opera house. We're at the opera house. All the world is a stage. We're merely the players. All right. Which I guess that brings me full circle too. I had a comment because I was talking about God and Magog, and I feel like we've already been through the 1,000 years and that we are in the time of deception. It's a repeat. Peter's all about Pete and repeat. He does the same thing over and over again. He only has one song. He has 4 versions of the same song on the mutable cross. And that song is only being played by 2 characters, and that's Jupiter and Mercury. They're the 2 characters that rule this age and the mutable cross. Jupiter rules mutable water in Pisces, mutable fire in Sagittarius, and Mercury rules mutable earth in Virgo and mutable air in Gemini. Keep that in mind. So they're going to pervert everything of all the other symbols. They're going to pervert it. And they're working in conjunction with the cardinal cross. The mutable cross and the cardinal cross, the powers behind that here, are working in conjunction to double cross. So the event, we're at the event horizon, the eve and the T, where everybody's third eye opens and we know the truth, the real truth, not this illusion delusion we've been handed. Force fed. I call it forced fed. It's like our food. It's all garbage. I don't care what you go to buy. I have to pick through every little thing. Rice is plastic today. How about that one? They're feeding us frickin' plastic for rice. You can't even get good rice anymore. What's it coming to? They're destroying everything. It's like the spoiled child. If I can't have it, I'll just burn the damn thing down and nobody will have it. It's a bad attitude. And attitude comes from Mars on the cardinal cross in Aries. That's the group that's really pushing it. It's the one that stands between Taurus and Pisces. It's cardinal fire. That's supposed to be a fire of purification. The Hebrews were supposed to be purified by fire. And instead, they were destroyed. They became the phoenix out of the ashes and have reinvented theirself. But still, we are all in illusion and delusion. The only truth I know for a fact is there is no truth here, because it's illusion and delusion. The only thing for me personally, that the only thing that keeps me from just zipping out is the fact that I do remember before I was born, and I'm quite aware this is temporary, and that I do have some type of a purpose here. My purpose is directly connected to the children. I'm drawn to them. I love them. It's just part of my being. I wanted a house full of them. I wanted to be a grandmother. I'll never get to be a grandmother. That's what I wanted, because that's where my heart is. My heart's with the children. Always has been. It's my only reason for being here. And I'm hoping that I'm bringing up some adults that can take up their cross the right way and teach their children. This is future. This is for the future. We're all on the mutable cross. We're all in the adept stage. We need to move to the fixed cross to become the master. And the only way we're going to do that is to start at the beginning. Symbolism. The use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities. Symbolic meaning attributed to natural objects or facts. An artistic and poetic movement or style using symbolic images and indirect suggestion to express mystical ideas, emotions, and states of mind. It originated in the 19th century France and Belgium. Word origin, let's just take it on down. It won't even give it to us. Well, that's pretty pathetic. You know, when the internet first came out, you could find whatever you wanted to about a word, and they have destroyed etymology online. It's just done. It's gone. It's over. It's not even worth using anymore. I'm glad I made the videos I did when I did, because now when you go back and you look up the same videos I did, that information is gone. But I did post that symbolism. Also, learning the enemy's symbols. You go through fonts. Fonts are symbols. You need to know them, especially wingding. They use wingding a lot. And that's the inverted and perverted symbols. You need to know both, but you need to be sure in your conscious mind of the correct symbol. That way you're not subconsciously directed without knowing it. That's, to me, that is awake. That's what awake is when you see the symbol for its forward motion and its reverse motion. You must see the duality of the symbol and what they're doing with it. Once you know how the trick is done, the magic doesn't work on you. In 2020, you will not manifest your monsters of the id, because there'll be no fear in you. We only fear what we don't know. We're afraid because we don't know. We can know. Alright, my thing is freaking out now. I'm trying to run Windows 7 and Google hits me every 5 minutes and wants me to download a new version and tells me I'm sick and this and that. And I'm tired of it. They're trying to really bad to get rid of Windows 7 because they can no longer patch what they want to patch, and they don't have the doorway in. I don't have a webcam on here, and I know they're pinging me. They want to watch what you do or where you're at, whatever the algorithms are doing. You know, we're being watched all the time. TV has a little pixel in it that watches you. Friend, you've been watched since before your birth. You're always being watched. You always have been. You always will be. Everything is being recorded. They don't call it the Akashic Records for nothing. There is nothing lost. There is no memory that will not be remembered. There is nothing lost. You know, in Aquarius, you have the man that comes on the horse, right? Pegasus is that winged horse. Did you know that Pegasus is a representation of the memory? The stars in the Greek and Pegasus talk about the parts of the brain that have to do with memory. All of you that are attracted to horses or see this horse symbolism, that's evoking your memory. That's waking up. When we wake up, to me, it's not waking up to truth. It's remembering. remembering is truth. It's like that deja vu. We've all been here before because the record was playing the other way. We're doing this in reverse. It's like when you die and you have a near-death experience. It's done in reverse.